Hey guys, welcome back for another video. Yeah, I don't even know where to start. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you guys are enjoying wherever you are. There is a lot of controversy going on right now in the world of Ripple, and I didn't know that it was this bad. I had heard from a number of people over the years, especially since I first got into Ripple, since I first found out about it. People are generally upset that it is not like Bitcoin, and I mean it this way, that Bitcoin is excessively decentralized. Like there's no one main place where you can get Bitcoin from, especially when you mine, et cetera, et cetera. Not to go too deep into it, but you guys know how Bitcoin works on the surface, at least. Well, with Ripple, every single Ripple that will ever be is, already made. And these were created by Ripple Labs, and 100 billion of them. And if you check on CoinMarketCap or any other place where you might get your coin prices from, you'll see that they always list the number of Ripple out there. I think it's 38 billion or 34 billion. I can't remember the exact number. So this has caused quite a rift in the world of cryptocurrencies, because apparently people are saying, which I've said for a long time, that Ripple is heavily undervalued, but Ripple is actually the number one coin above Ethereum and Bitcoin. And I'll explain why. Because when you check on these things, even though there are 100 billion Ripple out there, every single website constantly just shows that there are only 30 billion floating around, which is not true. It's like how Satoshi Nakamoto, how he himself, or in the wallet, that one of the first Bitcoin wallets, there's a million Bitcoin that are kind of just sitting there, and they don't add this out of the number when they say the entire 21 million. So people are saying the fact that they are not calculating the other 70 billion when they say the entire market cap for Ripple, the number actually goes above what Bitcoin is at the moment as well, as far as like complete market cap. So I really don't even know where to start. Like I said, I was reading stuff earlier. I was reading articles, and I was like talking to a few people, and yeah, so people are upset. There's like an actual war. Like I understand that people are really into the entire like anonymous factor that kind of comes with using Bitcoin, but Ripple's essentially the same way. Like no one is, really kind of tracking you for it. But I think, and this is why I think that the 70 banks that are behind Ripple right now are kind of with it. First of all, it's going to save them money, but the transaction speeds are just so much quicker, and it's the lower cost for the transaction fees that are really like causing people to get behind it. Especially a couple weeks ago, I guess it was about a month and a couple of days by now, when I was doing transactions from Kraken to my wallet, or vice versa, or any other way, at the end of it, you can kind of, if you go through all the numbers and stuff like that, you can see exactly how much your transactions cost. And when the network was really backed up, I think one of my transactions came out to, I think, $8 or $9. And one of the main reasons that I thought Bitcoin was really cool in the beginning, and I mean, it's still kind of cool, was that I think my transactions were 5, 10, 15 cents. They were very, very low. And this was part of the reason why I started telling other people about it. I was like, there's a way to transfer money back and forth without having to deal with this. And there were people who were saying, obviously these were larger transactions, but there are people who were sending money back and forth, and I think their transaction fees were about $25 and stuff like that. And that was something that we were told in the very beginning that would never happen on the Bitcoin network, because, part of the reason why people should use it or whatever is because of the low transaction fees. Well, with Ripple, I was sending money back and forth as well, and I think my transaction fees were like 5 cents. I think one of them was 3 cents one time. Even if you like check it, it usually comes out to like a fraction of a Ripple. Which leads me to my next point, is actually something that I did not know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't know as well. Every single time that a transaction takes place on the Ripple network, a portion of it, like not your transaction, but like a portion of like what was like for the fee, is actually destroyed. So like that Ripple is kind of destroyed and will never, ever, ever be made again. This is the argument that's being made by a lot of Ripple evangelists at the moment, because I think also that Ethereum is a great, great coin, but a lot of people don't know that Ethereum is making millions of new coins every single year. And this comes from the fact that they are kind of trying to stop what happened to Bitcoin when Bitcoin first came out. I think I told you guys in like one of my earlier videos, there were a lot of people who, you know, had thousands of coins. There was a guy in the UK, he had 7,000 coins. He forgot about it at some point. He bought a new computer and was like, I don't need this. Throw his computer, turned on the news and then saw that Bitcoin was at 1,200 each. Went back to the landfill and they were like, yeah, dude, all that was burned and destroyed earlier. So he literally lost his 7,000 Bitcoin, and these Bitcoin can never, ever, 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 ever come back into the system. That's not how the system works. And they think that at least 20, 30,000 Bitcoin per year are destroyed this way. People just forget about them. People wipe their computers. People lose their phone wallets, whatever the case might be. So that's a lot of Bitcoin that's being lost every single year. And so Ethereum was like, you know, we're going to try and mathematically solve this problem so that there's a constant number of Ethereum that's being made. And this is where people start fighting. I use CoinDesk a lot to kind of like find out what's going on. Like I always tell you guys to always do your own research. I try to do my own as much as possible. I read several times a day what's going on, what's happening, what's, you know, what have you. People were, there's an article that just came out about Ripple, and people were like fighting in the comment section. So it was a bit intense reading all this stuff. There are a lot of people who are just for Bitcoin, and I didn't know that there were so many people who are really heavily into Ripple. I think Ripple has a great future. Like I said in another video, I don't think that there's any way that 70 plus banks, and they're always signing up more, are going to get into something that they cannot profit from, especially when the transaction fees are so low and the transaction speeds are so quick. Because Ripple is quicker than Bitcoin and Ethereum combined. Like it actually rivals Visa. This is why it is a viable solution for banks. This is why they're like, okay, we can maybe use this, because a lot where I live, there's actually a really big problem. There's like a lot of bakeries and cafes and stuff. When they open up, they do not accept cards because the fees are very, very high for them. I think it's like 5 or 6% or even more than that on a transaction when it happens. You know, if you're selling something for 99 cents, you're paying all these fees constantly, and you're losing out on tons of money. We actually have a couple places in the city that actually like accept Bitcoin for burgers and stuff like that, which is actually kind of cool as well. But you have to understand that banks are also paying these huge fees when they transfer from bank to bank. And, you know, if you can cut down your fees, if you can send $500 million and your fee is just $2, you got to understand that the bank is going to be like, okay, we are definitely going to use you. And the fact that the Ripple, I mean, okay, listen, I believe in these coins. When I tell you guys about coins, don't think that I'm telling you. I've read people before in the comment section saying that I tell people these things to get the price pumped and stuff like that. No, I understand not everyone has the time that I might have to sit down reading articles and stuff like that all day. So I try to tell you guys what's new, what's going on, what's happening, so you're informed as well. I don't know the people behind Ripple. I don't know the people behind Ethereum or Bitcoin or CoinDesk or Kraken. I am not affiliated with these people. I'll tell you guys this news because I think it's interesting and I want you guys to also know these things. Back to what I was saying. It's very, and like I said earlier about the Ripple being destroyed during the transaction fee. I think this is actually something that is going to come into play more and more as it happens, because I want to start looking at the actual number on CoinMarketCap to see exactly how many there are, to see if it goes down day by day, like the actual circulating supply, because that's very interesting. If Ethereum is making millions per year and Bitcoin is losing, you know, tens of thousands of Bitcoin every single year, and Ripple has this finite amount that's already there, but they're also like their coins are being destroyed and will never ever come back again. That is kind of a really big deal, because I wonder how rapidly this will end up happening. You know, if more banks use them, if more people start using them on like during everyday transactions and stuff like that, how many will be destroyed per day? Because this will also come into play at some point, especially once the escrow comes into, you know, fruition when it finally gets started. Because I've heard conflicting things once again. I've heard multiple times that it's supposed to happen in June, and I keep seeing that by the end of the year this will happen. But I heard before that it is supposed to happen, it was supposed to have happened in June, or kind of continuing throughout the year. They would lock up more and more and more to kind of coincide with the August 1st Bitcoin fiasco thingamabob. But yeah, that is, I think all that is very, very interesting. It makes me just want to actually get more Ripple. Like, I see such a bright future for this. There's no reason why Ripple won't make it, why Ripple isn't worth 10 times what it is now. It's so undervalued for what it is. There aren't 70 banks who are joining with Bitcoin. There aren't 50, 30, 20 banks that are, lining up to get Ethereum to do their stuff, because these things are still really slow and the transaction costs are, it's it's just what it is. Another article that I read, which I thought was kind of great. I said before that rich people signal each other in a certain way. It's the same when the federal bank, when they give, that thing on, like when they say if they're going to raise interest rates and stuff like that, they don't say it outright, but they say it in a certain way. And that's when the markets kind of react, because everyone knows that the things that they're saying are kind of like encrypted in a way and people kind of react to it. So I was reading on Bloomberg earlier, there is an article called, the name of it is, some central banks are exploring the use of cryptocurrencies. And there was an analyst named Tom Lee, and I found this extremely exciting, and it was also kind of like a well duh moment. He predicts that once the market cap of cryptocurrencies reaches around $500 billion, so everything would have to flip about 5 times, he thinks that central banks are pretty much just going to start buying up all the cryptocurrencies for themselves, which seems entirely believable. There's not one part of me that is like, oh man, that's never going to happen. I told you before, I go to meetings and stuff like that, and I've met people who are like really into like investing and stuff like that, and they kind of just throw their money willy-nilly all over the place. These people have put $5 million on a whim. I met this, the people send her, definitely going to start doing it. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a huge amount of banks and stuff like that that are already buying all these things up right now, because you can't tell rich people that there's a way for them to make billions of dollars just by buying digital money. And realistically, think of space, and they're mining all these coins at like an aggressive rate, and they're putting them like they will never touch these things until they reach a certain amount. I think we are at a great time right now. It was obviously a great time 3 or 4 years ago if you got into cryptocurrencies, but now is literally the time to do it, because like I said, all the signals are there for all these rich people. Bloomberg and Forbes and all these other websites, they're now taking their time to write articles about how great these coins are. And if you think that there aren't other millionaires and billionaires out there who are, who are not taking notice, these people are reading this and they're calling up their people. They're like, hey, I need $500,000 in this right now. He also, Tom Lee also mentions in the article that, so I know a lot of people, and I was kind of one of these people myself before I got into cryptocurrencies, about the whole gold and silver debate and, collecting and stuff like that, because a lot of people believe that the price of gold and silver is manipulated. I'm not going to get into that, not even 1%. But realistically, we're finding new gold every single day. We're finding new copper. We are finding new silver. And we are finding new Bitcoin, but there's only a certain amount of it. We could keep digging and digging and digging, and before all we know, we might find a gold reserve that might be as large as all the gold that is in the entire world. You can keep mining Bitcoin, and at a certain point, it's just going to get really, really, really difficult. By the year 2030, if people keep mining as aggressive as they are right now, which they most certainly will, because more like if you have been, I know people who have become interested in like doing their own mining and stuff like that, building their own mining rigs. If you are looking for the, wanted to say chips, it's not chips, like the thing, I can't remember the name of it. Sorry, my brain is all over the place. The thing that you need, part of the mining rig in order to mine Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these other things, these things are sold out everywhere. The moment they come online, they're completely sold out because there's so many people buying these things. If things continue as aggressively as they are now in 2017, by the year 2030 or even a bit before, 98% of all the Bitcoin that will ever be in the entire world will have been mined. That is, in 12 and a half years, if people keep mining Bitcoin as aggressively as they are, 98% will have been mined, and it will be in the pockets of investors and rich people. There are a lot of people, like I said, who bought Bitcoin at 15 cents and then they sold it when it was like 50. They're like, it's not going to go any higher. That is now sitting in some rich person's wallet, and they're not going to touch it, especially with all these analysts talking about that the value of Bitcoin should be around $55,000 by 2022. like I always say, guys, make sure to do your own research. I tell you things because I think they are interesting and I think you guys deserve to know them because they're kind of absolutely insane. But yeah, nobody knows where the market is going to go. These are all projections. Unless you know somebody with a time machine who has been to the future and can tell me exactly what price is, there will be, then I can relay that to you guys. But until then, these are just projections, like I said. But I mean, realistic. No one saw the price of Bitcoin going up to almost 3,000. Not one person. Not one person on the entire face of the planet saw that in 2009. But we are living in very exciting times. And just keep your eyes open. Yeah. So I've decided, or rather, what I think is kind of the groove that I've gotten into is that when I make videos and you kind of see my face, like a lot of people say, like, where's your face? Those I think will be for facts, pretty much. Like, I give you guys 100% what is going on, what's happening in the market, what something is, how it functions. And I think for the voice videos like I'm doing right now will be for things that are in the news, or like opinions or things that I've heard, or, you know, kind of keeping up with the latest news and stuff like that. Like I told you, the thing that I read in Bloomberg. I think it seems to be a nice way to do it because, yeah, I think I've been getting okay responses. Yeah. Sorry for making this video super, super long. I hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys are still buying when the dip happens, and keep your eyes open for August 1st because it's very, very soon. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. See you.